Yeah, a positive little note in the editorial section in the newspaper.
I did not see that.
Oh, I'm sure.
Oh, I'm serious.
John, he pays me $20 to write those, so shh, quiet.
Oh, sorry.
I gotta go get the paper now.
It was well placed. You do a nice job.
Oh, wow, thanks. I would have paid good money to have something like that put in there. I'll look it up.
It was signed by Ref Chow.
Right.
Yeah.
Gosh.
All I saw in the article was, or the editorial was something about electoral process.
Yeah. Yeah.
They
It was
said,
it was on that same page.
okay, I'll look for it. How's Greg? I haven't seen you in eons.
Well, you drive in, drop something off, and you run.
A what?
You drive in, drop something at the door, and then you run.
Well,
You know, us older people, it takes longer to get to the door.
Hey, Greg, I think somebody's watching over your shoulder.
Yeah, my buddy. Good thing I woke up from my nap. My wife is decorating the house, which she does a beautiful job of, and she gets very sensitive to me being around. So I had to go outside and work.
All right. Stay out of her way.
Oh yeah. Oh God, yeah. Well, I managed to get down the refuse pile, or the not refuse, but the
brush pile.
Pile down is doing very nice. It's all been cleaned up nice. So lots of pumpkins.
Did you get your issues? Was it last month when you were having all sorts of internet issues? Did you?
I have no idea. If it goes to hell, I'm not going to keep trying, John. You just take over. Mike, how much of a short timer are you?
Well, in
1 to 2
the,
years.
yeah, right. End of March, beginning of April, somewhere in there.
Now, if you take all the extra sick time and
I'd be gone 2 months ago.
that's what I figured. Yeah. Sabbatical time.
But Greg, I'm so dedicated. I'm working to the end here, so.
I see. Right.
And to COVID.
There's a guy that retired from the Madison Metropolitan Sewage District about the same time I retired. He kept on going back, writing history on it and all that stuff. I said, "What the hell are you doing?" But that's what he's doing. That's why you should be coming back and doing more work.
Yeah.
You should write the history, Greg. You got a lot of history.
Oh, no kidding.
You can start right after Stagecoaches and Steve Staten.
Oh yeah, but you can't put all my history in print. You put my history in print, it might get censored.
History of bars in the area.
No, I don't do that. Well, I have not been to Dots like forever.
Really?
Oh shoot! Gotta be quiet. We got to call the meeting to order.
Whenever you're ready, Greg.
I'm ready because it's 6:31.
Okay.
Let's be professional. Okay, we'll call the meeting to order. Plan Commission meeting. First item is roll call, please.
Can you hear me okay?
Yep.
I can, thank you.
Schnelly?
Here.
Molzon?
Here.
Meyer?
Here.
Carpenter?
Here.
Smithback?
Here.
Severson?
Here.
Marr?
Yeah.
And Bano?
Here.
Wow, very good. Thank you all. Okay, there are no minutes to approve at this point. The next item is community input. Is there anybody in the community that wants to discuss anything that's not on the agenda? Hearing none, we're going to move on. And recognize everybody that we do have a revised agenda, which one item at the end.
5.
I'm sorry.
5E.
5.
E is an elephant.
E is an echo. See, E is an echo. Or an Elise. First item is the public appearance. 5A, public hearing to discuss and consider approval of zoning map amendment from planned development to essential business submitted by Oregon Parks LLC for 871 Oregon Center Drive and 831 Oregon Center Drive. At this time, we'll open the meeting or open the public hearing. Staff report, which would be from Elise.
1 second, I just need to start
Yep,
the brain meeting. So
Oh, okay.
thanks for the reminder, Joy. Okay, so these parcels might be familiar to you all. We've looked at these a couple times this year. These are the parcels that are just directly north of Mulligan's and the daycare center that's being built right now. We looked at these parcels earlier this fall. There was a comprehensive plan amendment proposed for these parcels to be multifamily residential. That was not approved, so these remain in the comp plan as central mixed use. And the corresponding zoning district for that future land use designation is central business. Back in 2005, these parcels, there was actually a planned development application and a GDP approved for some mixed use buildings on the site. Obviously, those have never been built, and the applicant felt that sort of having this 15-year-old GDP hanging out there was limiting development opportunities. So when the comprehensive plan amendment request failed earlier this fall, they decided to go ahead and sort of pursue this rezoning to reset the zoning for the lots back to their original intention, which was central business. So that allows, would follow the standard zoning uses and bulk density guidelines, all of that for central business. So it could be purely commercial use, or it could be a building that is commercial on the first floor and up to 2 floors of residential above, but not an entirely residential building. So that's essentially the review, sort of just resetting the zoning to what it originally was and matching the comprehensive plan, envisioned purpose for these lots. And we've not received any written comments or emails or really any phone calls from the public regarding these parcels. If anything, I think people are supportive of this change in the neighborhood.
Okay, thank you. Anybody from the petitioner? I see that Mr. Ladopoulos came online. Did you have any comments?
Not too much to add. Thank you for having me and having me back on your agenda. Good to see everyone again. Our preference for these lots had become, over the course of them not selling for as long as they did, had become multifamily. And that comprehensive plan was a request was turned down, and it was a mixed vote. But the gist of what I took away from that plan commission meeting was that there was still an interest and a belief from the plan commission, or enough of the plan commission members, that commercial be a component here. So with that in mind, our second choice would be to essentially revert the zoning to what the comprehensive plan implies, which is central business. And that would give potential buyers the ability to do straight commercial, straight office or retail or whatever, as well as, sorry about that, as well as a mixed use component where they have residential on the upper floors and commercial on the lower floors. So that flexibility, as opposed to the restrictions of the old PUD, is essentially our second choice, and that's what we're. I don't know where that's coming from. Is our preference today. So no, I'll leave it at that before I echo anymore.
Okay, thank you. Do we have anybody in the public is there any public comments? I didn't see anybody else on the call or on the meeting, excuse me. Nothing public, huh? Plan Commission members. I'm sorry I missed this meeting. I really wanted to be at it, but I just didn't get there. John, thank you very much. There was somebody that nerfed me out that I was in town that afternoon, but I had just returned from being out of town for a week, so I didn't want to screw it up. So, Plan Commission, anybody have any comments? Apparently, everybody had quite a bit of time to discuss this at that particular meeting.
Elise, just a point of clarification on my end. The agenda says 871 and 831 Oregon Center Drive, but your drawing is Liberty Park Drive.
It actually has two addresses for
Okay.
the property on the corner, so I haven't been consistent in using both, but they're one and the same.
Okay.
Any other comments? So we're going back to what we had before, essentially.
Right.
Okay, at this time, we're going to close the meeting. Or close the meeting, sorry. Close the hearing. I apologize. Move on to discussion, possible recommendation to village board, reason and approval of the zoning map amendment for plan development, from plan for development to central business submitted by Oregon Parks. Discussion.
Take the motion to approve.
Okay, we have a motion to approve the zoning change as noted in the agenda. Do we have a second?
I'll second it.
We have a second, Mr. Marr. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? That motion carries, Mr. Ladopoulos. Move on, sir. Thank you.
Thank you for your time.
You
Good
bet.
night.
Here, good night. Move on to item 5B, a discussion, possible recommendation to the village board, approval of a SIP for Netherwood Brewing regarding development at 900 Market Street. And again, Elisa sent us a nice review of what's been accomplished. It appears that the applicant has done essentially everything we've asked. Is that correct?
That's correct. The 4 or 5 changes that were requested from the November meeting, the glycol chiller we talked about for quite a while, that was moved to the north side of the building.
Right.
It does have a 0-foot setback with the property line, but that was a fence, it would be allowed to be right on the side property line. So I don't see too much of an issue with that. That allows for better accessibility around the parking lot and just continuation of the sidewalk along the side of the building. Bike rack was moved to near the beer garden. The snow storage area is located in the outdoor storage area on the rear of the site. And then they did show the fence location, the decorative 4-foot fence at the southern end of the beer garden. So I'll just scroll to the revised site plan, but I think they did a good job addressing our concerns and questions.
Excellent.
And I see most of those applicants are here on the call as well, so I'm sure they'd be happy to answer any questions.
Okay. I'm sure the applicant is on the meeting call or not?
Yes.
They are. Okay. All right. The applicant want to make any comments to us?
This is Dan Dressens with Delta 3 Engineering. Not really. I think Elise did a good job of summarizing the changes. We were able to confirm that the glycol chiller equipment can be moved to the north side of the building. One of the concerns that we had, in case anybody's interested, was to make sure we had enough room for airflow to come into it. And so that 10 by 10 area back there has enough area around it for airflow coming into it, which was one of the concerns about not putting it on the north side. So, but that does work. And by moving it to the north side, we open up the south side of the building, which is the front of the building, so that we have good pedestrian access from the street. We have ADA accessibility to the front of the building. And the nice thing is that we do not lose any parking stalls, because that was one of the concerns that we had, is that if we had to leave that glycol chiller on the south side of the building, that we would possibly lose 2, maybe 3 stalls. And then we also have marked out some areas for storage, talked with the owner of the property, and that the main area is going to be back in the storage, outdoor vehicle storage area, which worked out pretty good. So other than that, that's about it. Like I said, everything else, it worked out very well with moving that glycol equipment to the back of the building.
Good, thank you. Okay. Anybody else have any questions regarding this?
Yes, Greg, I have a few questions for the applicant on the drawing.
Okay.
First of all, I want to thank you for taking our comments into consideration and making the changes. The questions I have, just a couple clarifications. Overall, I support your project. On the south side of the building remodel, there are 3 rectangles. What are those right on the sidewalk?
Those are actually the stoops for doorways is what they are. And so they're going to be open for the public, but just so that they don't move up and down along the building, I guess I just boxed them off just so that when the owners are pricing out the concrete sidewalk, they know that that's part of the building portion.
Is that a raised stoop or is that?
Nope.
Okay.
It's
Okay.
flush, yes.
Okay. And then on the north side of the property, there's a fence for the beer garden, but it looks like another fence to the north of that.
That's going to be silt fence that's going to be installed along that north property line. So that
Okay.
when we're doing any work
Okay.
back in there, we don't have any issues.
Okay. And the other thing I noted is that the chiller is still showing on the south elevation. Is that just something that hasn't been cleaned up yet?
Oh, that must be. I thought that I moved that, so I apologize for that.
Mhm.
I
Oh,
think that's-
it is. Okay, I concentrated on I was looking at the side ones. So if you look at the east and west elevations, you don't see it. So I can clean that up and resubmit that for record.
Yeah, that'll be fine.
And then just to confirm, moving that chiller, there's not going to be a problem accessing that for service?
No, we found out, we did some preliminary sizing of it. It's actually going to be a fairly small unit. So the 10 by 10 chiller equipment pad provides all of the required distances for airflow to be separated. And so there shouldn't be any issue with getting back there with anything for maintenance purposes.
Okay. And then the final question I had is, I read on the proposal that the shipping containers are going to be accessed from both the south and the north side. So the northern container, I just want to confirm that there's enough room there to access, get through the doors and move stuff in and out.
I believe so. I think Josh had looked at that, and that was not going to be an issue.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, anybody else? Okay, looks like we need a recommendation then to the village board to approve an SIP plan for Netherwood Brewing Company regarding development at 900 Market Street as presented.
I'll make that motion. Molzon.
Hold on, do you have a second?
Second, Severson.
Stevenson, thank you. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you very much. Appreciate it.
Thank you.
Moving on to item 5C, a public hearing to discuss and consider approval of a conditional use permit submitted by Lakeside and Landscaping for outdoor storage at 930 Market Street. At this time, we'll open the public hearing. Elise?
All right, so similar to the last item, this was the CUP we did see at our November 12th meeting. The applicant had suggested some changes, especially with the location of the screening fence and kind of reworking the parking lot and outdoor storage areas. So the commission decided to table this item, and the applicants made some changes to the site plan. So we can kind of go through those a little bit, but I think he did a great job addressing the concerns. And just to see if you haven't driven by, the building has been repainted, and they've been doing a lot of work to clean up some of the brush and other things on the site. So it looks really good so far. So let me zoom in a little bit and kind of walk through this. And Hans is on the call too, so he can certainly speak more to their business operation plans. But the employee parking area would be up front. He did add a ADA stall, and there'll be sidewalk all the way around the building, as well as an addition of a walkway between the public sidewalk and the walkway around the front of the building. This will all be paved in front and striped to make sure that, the number of stalls there is maintained. The fence material that's being proposed would be something like this to the side here. It's a corrugated metal with a wood frame, sort of goes with the industrial, look of the building. Gate here for vehicles to get through, and then the business vehicle parking, about 3 stalls would be in the rear, and everything behind the fence would be gravel surface, and anything back here would be outdoor storage. And above we have the recommendations, for no unlicensed or inoperable vehicles. It'll just be landscaping equipment, business vehicle storage, and then these will be the bins. They revise the number of bins and kind of the layout here, but that would be for the loose or bulk landscaping materials, so mulch, gravel, salt, things like that. I also, with Jeff, went out on the site a couple weeks ago, and we were able to kind of verify that there's landscape buffers back there. It's just backing up onto some businesses, so I think that'll provide enough screening, especially half the year. It really won't be visible from Main Street or any of the surrounding areas. But I think that was the majority of the changes that were made.
Okay, and actually, since petitioner Mr. Thiel, you would be an next on board here. Have you looked at the conditions of approval that Lise has on her memo here, on her note?
We kind of just went over these items that were changed here in person, and I think she covered it pretty well on the plan as far as all the new stuff, being the striping of the parking lot, the new sidewalk, the ADA stall, fencing location.
Okay.
And I don't think any of these conditions of approval, these are just, Hans, things that you're agreeing to as part of the site plan.
Right.
I don't think these have changed since the last time.
Right. Okay.
I want to just make sure that we all understand. So, okay.
Yep.
Good. Thanks for cleaning it up, Hans. You did a nice job. The building looks great, by the way. Thank you.
Thank you.
Very nice. Very nice looking. I didn't like that blue color very much.
Right. Yeah. It was a little dated, so.
It was a lot dated. Yeah. Okay. So then, if that's the case, do we have any plan commission comments or questions at this point?
I have just a quick question. It looks like in the narrative it's a sliding gate, but on the picture it looks like a swinging gate.
Yep. It should be a sliding gate actually on there. So the plan's not true, but
okay.
The plan is to be sliding.
And that's a 16-foot gate, right?
Correct.
And 8 feet high for the fence, which is fine within this district. So.
All right.
Thanks for picking up all of the comments and suggestions that we made last time.
Yeah, you bet.
It seems like you've done a nice job already, and it continues to look like a great project.
Thanks.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Nice improvement on that block of the street. Very nice. Any other comments or questions by anybody? We will close the hearing and move on to discussion and possible recommendations. So, plan commission members, do we have any other concerns at this point? It looks like he's done everything we've asked. It looks nice. It's a nice looking project. Anybody have
move to make a motion to approve the project for the approval of the conditional use permit for Lakeside Landscaping for operating a mixed use business at 930 Market Street with the comments from the planner.
We have a motion. Do we have a second?
I'll second it, Mar.
Mar, thank you very much. Is there any discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That motion carries. Thank you very much. Hans, thank you very much. Have a good
Thank you.
Yep. And congratulations with your business.
All right. Thank you.
You bet. Move on to item 5D, discussion possible approval of the site plan revision for Journey above childcare, 767 Jefferson Street, excuse me. Elise, you got some comments? You have a memorandum here?
Yes, this is a simple fence relocation, I guess, for the daycare that's under construction. The project manager from Supreme Structures reached out to me. The daycare operators just wanted to have a little bit more space for the kiddos to be, playing out in their backyard. So this is moving the fence. It's really just 5 feet. It got a little blurry here with the scanning, but 5 feet closer to Highway CC.
Okay.
There's about 1 foot of elevation change downslope over the course of 5 to 6 feet, but they didn't feel it was going to be, negatively impacting the, function of the backyard there, and they're still well within the setback requirements for fences from Highway CC. So just because this was not a huge revision, but just a revision to the site plan, we thought it was best to bring it back to Planning Commission just to clear it up and make sure this is added in the public record for the site plan.
Excellent. I don't think anybody have any issues with this, any concerns? And I think we need a motion to approve the site plan revision for Journey Above Childcare at 767 Jefferson Street.
Move to
So
approve,
moved.
Olson.
Second, Bano.
Okay, we have motion, we have a second. Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, that motion carries. Thank you. Okay. Item 5E, which is added to the agenda, is conceptual discussion with developer Glenn Hofer, Autumn Ridges phases 2 and 3.
All right, so a very brief memo here in your packet. Hopefully you had a chance to see the revised packet, but if not, we'll go through it. So developer Glenn Hofer and his architect Bruce Holler have met with us, I believe, twice at our planning staff meetings, just to sort of begin discussions about what Autumn Ridge phases 2 and 3 might look like. This land is still within the town of Oregon, so we still need to go through the annexation process. It's not in our urban service area, so the CARPC urban service area amendment process is still to come. We're actually hoping to, we have a meeting planned with them at our next planning staff meeting next Wednesday, just to start that conversation with CARPC and see what initial concerns they might have about, especially stormwater on this site. But the developers also agreed to participate in a sanitary sewer capacity study regarding the Park Street sewer extension. And we're looking to have that split 3 ways, actually, between Lakestone for their multifamily apartment project at the end of Wolf Street and Janesville there, split between Lakestone, Autumn Ridge, and the Village. And then we'll also do a master development agreement as per usual with the developer. This is the exhibit that they've shared with us. So phase 1 is already under construction within the Village. Phase 2 is just to the south and includes some land to be dedicated for a park. And then phase 3 is on the other side of MM on the east side and sort of 2 legs. But number of lots, I believe there's a handful of 2-family lots within phase 3, and phase 2 is all single family, if I'm remembering correctly. But we have, I believe, both Bruce and Glenn on the line with us tonight, so they can certainly share more about their plans for these phases.
Yeah, hi, thank you for, this is Bruce Holler with D'Onofrio Kotke, the engineer with the owner. Elise, do you have that concept plan that you can throw up on the screen to share, or?
Can you see my screen?
I can see you, owner.
Can everybody else see the concept
I
plan?
can see it. This is Greg.
Okay.
I can see it.
Oh, okay, so I'll just kind of go by memory here then.
Okay.
Oh, here it is. Okay. Yeah, so this is the essentially just a kind of a repeat of what we had initially submitted when we came in for the phase 1, which we had just finished up the public improvements for this past summer. Not really a whole lot changed. some of the components of the second phase, which is the on the west side of MM in the purple. That's 30 lots, and which with the parkland dedication for not only phase 2 but phase 1 as well. So that area will satisfy the park requirement for both first and second phase. And then we've got below that to the south there is our stormwater management. The site in general, the drainage pattern is from the northwest where the cul-de-sac is, drains down to the southeast towards that pond. Once it leaves the site, it goes down MM ditch for a little ways, and then it heads across on a culvert, then comes back up, and ultimately works its way through phase 3 in the green and into the golf course. As Elise had mentioned, that phase 3, there are a handful of duplex lots over there. That's that side of MM, because of the way that is, the drainage pattern for that is sloping from MM to the east. We're going to need a lift station to pump the sewer up to the intersection at MM there, where we've extended a stub, sanitary stub, already extended that across. And that's kind of where the design study for the capacity of the sewer comes in, to make sure that that the sewer is in fact capable of handling that third phase. We will be draining, or we will be serving the entirety of lot 2 via gravity. So that was all kind of set up as part of phase 1 and installed deep enough that we can gravity drain the entirety of phase 2. So,
sorry.
So yeah, that's kind of a little bit of a synopsis with that. As Elise had mentioned, it's still in the town, so we'll have to go through annexation and through CARP C as well.
Okay, thank you. The obvious question is what kind of timeline? I realize you're talking next spring before you get through CARP C. As far as phase 2, do you have a timeline at this point? Somewhat of a timeline.
Yeah, so assuming we can, things kind of fall into place, so next spring will be CARP C, getting the approvals with the plat and through the village. If that all goes well, I would probably see a late summer start, potentially. I deal with the intention of having, my expectation would be permits available yet in 2021. That first phase of the first phase of phase 2, because there'll be 2 phases of that portion, will likely, obviously we'll grade the entire site, but we'll make public improvements just for the extension of Ridgeview to the cul-de-sac, and then the cul-de-sac itself likely is going to be the first phase of that second phase. So
okay.
If that's it, again, if everything falls into place, that's, I think, kind of what Glenn and I had talked about for timing.
All right, anybody have any questions?
I just have one question on the intersection at Foxfield and M. Is that ultimately going to be signalized? Is that the long-term plan?
Not at this point, Patrick. I mean,
that would be the decision by the village, I believe. Is that correct? Or by?
correct. And that it would be dictated based on traffic volumes.
Right.
If there becomes an accident issue out there, that type of thing. I mean, right now with the traffic volumes and the speed through that area, it's
it meets, and we did have the developer double and triple check this. And I believe, Bruce, you guys even went out and shot the profile, I think, to make sure that site distances and everything were being met.
Right. And I think that even when we did do that, the county was satisfied. Had we not changed, and that was before any discussion of the reducing the speed limit. But I think the speed limit has since been reduced out there, I believe.
Yeah.
It's been a while since I've been down there. Is there an island at the crossing?
No.
No, there's a bypass. There's a right turn lane, a right turn deceleration lane if you're going south. If you're going north, it's what don't they call those bypass lanes?
Yes.
To the right, for left turning movements, or if there's a left turning movement there.
I guess the main concern I have with this is kids crossing that intersection. You've got a big residential area, and having them safely, I know things have slowed down there, the speed limit, but having them safely cross M is concerning to me.
Well, I suspect more than likely if it's a school situation, I think we'd probably have crossing guards, would we not?
Maybe
I'm sorry.
not.
Pardon me?
Maybe not. I mean, the decision for crossing guards really is based off of volume and number of kids, that type of thing.
Right.
This is a similar situation to what we have down there. It's about a quarter mile north of here, and that's been a concern. It's been an issue that we've wanted to address. Patrick, to kind of answer your question earlier, the likely next intersection improvement that we would see in this area would be at Pleasant Oak and County Highway MM here, and that would likely be a roundabout at the middle school intersection there. And then we do have plans eventually, because this is all still county highway. So it's county highway all the way from Wolf Street or at the Quick Trip and BP up there all the way south. But eventually this will be under jurisdictional transfer. We'll go to the village, and at that time we'll be looking at, there'll have to be sidewalks added and more of an urban section through there. And possibly we could see sidewalks on both sides that would get hopefully pedestrians down to that intersection at Pleasant Oak, and then safe crossings across that roundabout area.
A couple of questions. One, Bruce, for you, and one, I think, for Elise. With these new subdivisions, Bruce, this is for you.
Mm-hmm.
The topic has come up and has been kind of a thorn in everybody's side, and that is the post office boxes. Are we having to do or create another area for post office boxes, or do you have one in phase one that handles all three phases? Does that make sense?
Yeah, no, this second phase will have an area set aside, a little outlet set aside for those post office boxes. Yeah.
All right. And then the other one is maybe for Elise, and I'm not sure if you can answer this, or Jeff. The lift station that was made comment to, is that to be sized for, or is there planning for expansion of that lift station for as Oregon continues to grow to the south or to the east, or is that just merely to handle what the capacity of phase 3 is?
Jeff, do you want to speak to that?
Say what?
I said, do you want to speak to that?
Yeah, I mean, right now, honestly, that we're still working out some of the details of that, but I don't know if you remember when this came through originally. When was that, Mike? 2005? 2008?
It was before the recession, around 2007. Yeah. Yep.
That long ago.
Phase 2 and 3 were actually part of a plan to be served with an interceptor gravity sewer that would instead go all the way down to the basically Oregon Farm Center, and then under Highway 14 near the creek and into the wastewater treatment plant. Our long-term plan for this area that is south of here, if it is ever sewered, and we're talking probably a long ways out because now we're into the presidential streets, the Fahey Heights back there, that would likely be gravity in an interceptor, kind of like it back to 138, like what we've talked about. But this will be, I mean, a lift station will be designed as a permanent lift station because we just don't know when that would happen, and that would be turned over to the village and, you know, maintained by the village and our sanitary personnel.
Okay. Any other questions? I'm just surprised it's been that long ago. I remember talking about that interceptor.
Yeah.
Wow.
Greg, that's when Viridian owned the property.
Okay, my God.
And then, and so they had actually, they went through a lot of the, a lot of meetings with CARPC dealing with stormwater, and stormwater will be, and Bruce and Glenn knows that they're already working on that. It will be an issue regarding these two phases. So, and then Viridian, I think, just lost the property during the recession. That's what happened. The bank got it.
Okay. All right.
Yeah, Mike mentions it, but I wanted to mention it as well. You know, there's some concern from some residents, and that they're very founded concerns over how stormwater will be handled with these properties, and more notably, how it is handled and how does it affect downstream properties. Most notably, just north of phase 3 is the Foxborough Golf Course,
right,
and then eventually goes into the Highway 14 corridor area, which has had some problems and everything like that. So we are, and Bruce will back me up on this, we are being hyper vigilant with them on the storm sewer or the storm water and treatment, and specifically dealing with quantity, quality, but more or less quantity of release and how it is released. And I know they're working with the downstream landowners and everything on this, and I'm confident that, you know, with working together, we can come up with a solution that will, you know, I think make the system better, and solve some long-term problems probably that are occurring from the site now. Would you agree with that, Bruce?
I think so. I think that's a fair statement, and I think we'll do our best to make sure that happens.
Okay. All right. All right. Anything else? Otherwise, it looks okay, I think, right? Everybody kind of in agreement? It's been out there for a long time. Okay.
All right.
Thanks. Thank you, gentlemen.
Yeah, thank you.
Moving on, we're going to go. Is there any other public appearances at this point? Okay, we'll move on to item 6, communication miscellaneous business. Our next meeting is Thursday, January 14th. They didn't want the first week of January, apparently. So make every note of that, everybody, please. And that's going to be a joint meeting with the village board. And again, it's going to be probably, obviously, visual, like we're doing tonight, correct?
Yes, we'll be virtual for a while yet. Yep.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Thank you. And then it'll be just one combined. Then I guess we'll see what the agenda says. What happens? Okay.
Yep.
Item 7, unfinished business, none. Item 8, new business, review and possible recommendation, village board proposal from Vanderwall and Associates to clean up online zoning ordinance. Okay. Is this Mike's going to be talking about this? Elise, you're going to talk about it? What are we going to do?
I'll talk about it here.
All right.
So if anybody has ever gone onto our website and tried to, navigate around our zoning ordinance on a daily basis, like I do, you might see that there's some formatting issues and things that it can be hard to navigate if you didn't write the zoning ordinance yourself like Mike did. So appreciate all his help he's given me over the last year.
I struggle too, Elise.
something happened at some point, and a lot of numbers and just organization of items got off, so it looks a little messy. So I reached out to Ben Rohr, who works with Mike at Van Wall, and he has some time and ability over the next couple of weeks to do some reformatting and also sort of link some of the titles to the sections later in the zoning ordinance. So it's a little bit easier to click around and navigate. So just kind of a basic level of cleaning up Word and PDF versions. So when we do make zoning ordinance, text amendments, things like that, can update that myself and then re-upload to the website with the help of Joy and Candy. So that's just $1,100 to have that work done. If we wanted to potentially have everything individually linked, so you're looking at the definition for indoor institutional uses, it would actually link every single definition to its own section. Depending on how detailed we want it to go, that would be a total of $2,200, so essentially doubling the cost, just because that's additional time for linking. I'm not sure if we need that right away. I think we can maybe start with the lower level and then see how we go with that. If it seems to be pretty functional, I'm comfortable with starting with that. But just wanted to let you all know this is something that I was hoping to do, and hopefully if you're supportive, we can bring this to the board next week and they'll give us the green light, and then he can spend some time over the next few months to get this cleaned up for us.
Pretty reasonable.
Yeah.
Anybody have any questions?
I'm highly in favor of this. I've been working with Oregon zoning code since it was a handful of pages, and it's rather complex these days. So I think getting it organized and having links that you can click on and go to another section would be very welcome.
Yeah, we've had quite a few zoning text amendments even in just the 14 months that I've been here. So integrating some of those, and I think just making it more user friendly for when we update things like a parking ordinance and or parking requirements and changing some of the conditional uses. I think it'll just be handy to have a more user friendly version to update on a regular basis.
Okay, and from a guy who uses the applications and the forms on a daily basis, I completely agree with everything that's been said. I think that it's also important to be able to have a form that you can fill out online, especially in today's day and age, when you don't have to, some of these people come from more than an hour away for businesses, projects, whatever. It's a heck of a lot easier to just fill it out online and send it in and not have to worry about touching and seeing people and traveling. So having an online form and the easily accessible zoning code online is time and money well spent from our side.
Yeah, I think just on the note of applications, that's on my list for this winter, is to kind of look through some of our permit applications and our development agreement that we've been using, but yeah, make sort of the fillable PDF forms and some of the checklists and things that we have for TDPs and site plans and CUPs, things like that, just making them more electronically friendly.
Okay, are you looking only at the $1,100, or do you want to go all the way to a possible $2,200?
Do you need a motion from us? Is that what it is?
You need a motion to recommend a village board, yeah.
All right, then I'm going to make a motion for $2,200.
Not to exceed, okay.
I'll second.
The two guys who use it, cool, okay. All right, any more?
Please, I just have a quick question. Is it 2,200 or 3,300?
I believe so. With the addition of optional tasks A and B, the cost of the above services are not to exceed. So, Mike, would you read that as that's all of the above?
I do.
Yeah.
Okay. I just wanted to make sure we were.
Yeah, an additional 1,100 for a total of 22.
With the additional option, okay. So to me, it means that you get everything for 2,200 if you go that far.
That's my understanding.
All right. So we have a motion.
Plus a collector cup.
The what?
Plus a collector cup.
Yeah. We have a motion.
And a Flowbee.
Is there any discussion? All in favor, say aye.
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 Opposed? That motion carries. That was an easy one. Thank you.
Thanks,
That's a good,
everybody.
good. That saves you all the work, at least, right? Good. And
It's been
saves
a lot of time scrolling and linking, yeah.
Scott and John will be very happy. That's nice. Okay. All right. It's all about them. Okay. We'll move on then to staff reports, status of developments and projects. What have we all got going on this time of year? Anything?
Not much. I mean, we've really wrapped up a lot of our projects. We're just cleaning up our record drawings on everything. Our engineers have done a nice job of kind of keeping tabs to make sure those are being done and collected on. And, we're just now kind of trying to shift gears into what 2021 is going to do for us here. Any questions?
Developments all look pretty nice. They're very nicely done. They look good.
Yeah, this is our first year. I don't know if anyone's noticed, but this is the first year that we've forced the developer, not forced, we've required the developers to finish both lifts of asphalt in the same year. And that gives us.
I was surprised at that. I usually thought we waited through the winter for the second lift. But,
well, yeah, we've changed our philosophy on that because we're getting so many disputes over supposed plows damaging curbs, contractors damaging curbs.
All right.
And then it turns into a big wrestling match the following year or the 2 years later over who's going to replace what. And so we're trying this, and I think it'll work to just have them do it, finish it. And, if we do have a contractor that damages roadways, we'll still go after them on that.
Sure. Okay. Good.
Yep.
Staff meeting.
I've got a question for Jeff. What's going on North Main Street? I've noticed a lot of curb markings. Is there work happening next year?
Yes. So North Main Street is our big project next year. And that's going to be probably anywhere from 10 to 20% curb and gutter replacement, water main extension, and replacement. I believe I'm going to have to check the limits, but at least from Walgreens North all the way to the cemetery. And then complete reconstruction of the road base bed and new asphalt. Kind of like what we did on Jefferson Street 2 years ago. And then so this is another part of a jurisdictional transfer from the county, since it's a county highway now. So the county will do all of the road work and the concrete work. We'll hire a contractor to do the utility work. And then we end up splitting the cost on the road work 50% with Dane County.
All right.
It's a couple $1 million project.
Yeah. Okay. Good. Anything you see we have the memo from the staff meeting?
Patrick, we're going to take off all your trees in the front. I hope you're okay with that.
Well, what I want to know is, am I going to have a property assessment for that curb and gutter?
Damn right.
No, there's no plan for that right now. Typically, all we'll ever do is assess for sidewalk, and that's a half cost if all of the sidewalk is replaced.
But thanks for asking, Patrick. Maybe now we'll think about it maybe.
Well, I just want to know if I needed to ask for a raise on the plan commission.
Yeah. We'll all get a raise. Yeah. Okay, thank you. Then moving on, item 10, items for future meetings. Let's see. Yeah, looks like good stuff. Okay. Is anything really outstanding there that really has to be handled quickly or soon or? Well, we got. Go ahead.
Yeah, not necessarily. The affordable housing report, we're required by the state to actually have that up on the village website by the end of the year. So we're actually going to have that through the village board at their December 21st meeting, but we'll share that with you all at your January meeting as an FYI.
Right.
We're still working on street tree requirements, and then I have the TIF policy and packet ready to go. We just haven't had space on the agenda to put it on there yet. So.
All right, perfect. Any other questions? Anybody wants to talk about anything else? Need a motion to adjourn.
So moved, Pino.
We have a second?
Second, Moles on.
Moles on. Okay, thank you. Any discussion? All in favor say aye.
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 Opposed? We are adjourned. Thank you, everybody. It was a